From the direction of faculty or academic attributes, they're really, I would classify them into two particular camps. One would be the general technical attributes. And these would be not specific to a tool, but just general ideas around technology, which is the ability for someone to be literate across a range of different software and hardware devices. And when I talk literate, I mean literacy in the sense that to be literate in an era is the ability to participate in prominent modes of discourse. And so let's say in our era today, to be able to blog or to do podcasts or to create videos and upload them to YouTube, those are fairly fundamental skills. So to be literate in those areas means that you can participate in those spaces of discourse. So the technical attributes, though, those are the easy ones because we can conduct workshops and bring faculty in and teach them how to use a new technology, or a new piece of hardware or a new type of software. We can teach technical attributes. It's the second range of academic attributes that are more difficult to teach. One of the most significant attributes that I would argue for is the attribute of play. And I noticed this years ago when I was teaching a course in computing applications. And it was fascinating to watch the ways in which young students in the program use technology differently than my colleagues did or than I did. And for young students, it was literally, they just clicked and played and found out stuff that worked, downloaded stuff, broke their laptops, brought it to the help desk, got the viruses removed, new software installed, whatever they had to do to make it work. But that was the mindset they had, is they just play, do stuff, make stuff, add stuff. Whereas faculty members often didn't do that. They were almost like afraid of this. So everything they did, they felt they needed to get permission for first. Because at this point, keep in mind, this is in the late 90s. We were early stages of understanding laptops and personal computers as in higher education setting. So from a skill level, I would say, or an attitude level, I would say need to have the capacity to play. Also, the ability to exist and function in networks, I think, is quite important. Recognizing that when we're in networks, we have different social interactions, we have different types of engagement with students, with our peers, with family members, and so on. So recognizing that things don't sit in one space anymore. We can't put a course in a learning management system, for example, as well as we could in the past, because students will add resources. You can bring in faculty or guest speakers from other universities or other systems and bring them into your classroom. So the walls of a classroom are thin and we're more and more part of networks. Another attribute that I think is quite important is a willingness to accept ambiguity and uncertainty. Part of what we do educationally, and I certainly see the value of it, but it's a bit limiting, is that we want to make the world make sense. Sometimes, though, it just doesn't make sense. And sometimes being able to accept that I don't know right now is a very good position to be in, rather than accepting a simple answer that denies the complexity of a situation or a context. So from a perspective of academics, to accept and tolerate that uncertainty around the areas of knowledge topics or whatever we're exploring, I think is quite valuable. And a final point I would emphasize is the expectations that faculty have around technology. I would encourage faculty to assume that technology will always go wrong, and that that's just a part of the experience sometimes. So I've had talks where I've started and the laptop didn't do what it was supposed to do, or it crashes and your PowerPoint isn't working, or your slides or your website you're trying to access isn't working. That's just a part of the experience. You just learn to navigate around it. So don't expect a perfect technology experience. Expect a bumpy one. And if that's your expectations, you're more tolerant of the little things that come along that don't quite work as well as you would like them to.